All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning virtual coffee. I'm here with my partner in crime, Ray Schulseth.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
All right. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Ray because um, he's worked with Cynthia for a while now, and she's going to chat with us all about the power of your CRM. So, Ray, you're up, buddy.
Hey, guys. Good morning. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. Welcome. My name is Raymond Schulseth, here with my co-pilot Debbie and some of our other friends. I've been in the real estate space for about 33 awesome years, primarily as an investor in and out of multifamily. And today I do off-market, work with a lot of disposition managers, private equity, and family offices. Today, our special guest is Cynthia Castillo. Cynthia is amazing. She's literally been in real estate her whole life. Second generation in real estate. And we are going to talk about the pillars of a CRM and how you can leverage that today. So, Cynthia, I would love for you to introduce yourself and say hello to everybody.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So nice to meet you all. My name is Cynthia Castillo. I started Mango Business Consulting because I knew that there was a gap between technology and real estate agents. And after living my whole life around real estate, helping with everything from open houses to, making the flyers, making the calls, doing the paperwork, all of that stuff, I decided to take all the tools that I learned from being an agent and translate it into making your lives easier. So now I help agents, brokerages, teams every day with their systems to make everything smooth sailing so that you get more deals, your clients are happier, you have more time back, and everything like that. So I'm really excited to talk to you today about all of that. I did want to ask if it's okay if I share my screen or I can just talk about time here.
Yeah, you can do both. Before you share your screen, Cynthia, I just want to ask a totally loaded question that I did not prepare you for.
Okay,
You know, I'm good at that.
sure.
Why don't people use CRMs? And I ask that because I'm friends with the people at Follow Up Boss, Lofty, Go High Level, and the
Mhm.
adoption rate, not people who have signed up for accounts, but the adoption rate of people that have actually used it and are using it consistent to drive their business is typically less than 20%. Why is that?
I think it's twofold. One might be habit. So if you don't put something in your calendar, you don't make time for it in your day-to-day life, you're not going to use it. So make it a priority. So I think a lot of people don't make it a priority, but I think they don't make it a priority because maybe they don't know the true power of using the system. And so if you have no roadmap, you have no guide, you have no direction for using the technology that you have, then it makes it really hard to implement. So I think it's both of those things together.
Okay, cool. Screen's yours. Have at it.
All right, thank you. There we go. Do you see this?
There we go.
Okay, perfect. So today I want to talk to you about turning your sleeping CRM into a gold mine. As we just mentioned, just met me, but I have 10 years of marketing experience, 10 years of newsletter experience, 6 years of training others in CRMs and managing them, all in the real estate industry. And with over $500,000 in commission in less than a year, 33% increase in business, and 100% satisfaction so far, Mango Business Consulting, my company, is here to help you with all your marketing needs. So that is my background. That's why I can speak on this topic because I've seen the incredible results that it will give you. So
Hey,
that being
Cynthia,
said, yes.
when we go into presentation mode, so it doubles the size of it, just hit present
Okay.
and then go to presenter view.
All
Yeah, that's fine. Amazing.
right, is that better?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay. So I have a gift for you all. I hope it's okay. But if you want to grab it, there's this QR code. I can also leave the link in the comments too. It's just mangobizc.com/gift. And that's going to give you an automation blueprint just so that you have a copy of it so that you can use that in your system if you want. It's just an introduction to automation and that will help you for sure. So I'll give you a second for that. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat too, just to give you guys something to boost right off the bat. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here, but while you do that, I'll go ahead and go over our agenda today. So it's gonna be what is a CRM? Because that I want to talk about the pros and cons real quick of some of the different ones: organization and automation, consistent communication, and conversion and follow-up. So just a quick overview: CRMs can be something that you use to hold your database so that you can communicate and keep track of communication. Now, some CRMs have websites, some of them have other marketing tools, but at the very, very basic is it's a place where you can keep all your contacts in an organized way so that you can communicate with them. So Follow Boss is a great example of this. That is only a CRM. There's no additional bells and whistles or anything like that. But there are other ones like you may have heard of Lofty or Go High Level or Brivity or other ones like Sync, Boomtown that have more robust items that you can use. For example, marketing on social media, you can schedule posts, landing pages, so you can create pages where people can sign up, and then also having a website where people can search for property, things like that. So CRM in general is a really broad term, and depending on which system you use will let you know what options you have of how to use it. But across the board, no matter which one you're using, there are some really essential pillars that I'm going to go over today that's applicable to pretty much all. So that being said, I'm going to go over to my next page. First thing we're going to talk about is organization and automation. Now, I'd like you to think about where your contacts are located. Are they in your phone? Are they in your email? Do you have a spreadsheet? Do you have a Google Sheet? Do you have them a little bit everywhere? Do you have them in your notebook? I'm also a pen and paper girl. I have my little notebook here too. I get it, but I think it's good to start with where are your contacts? Because if your contacts are a little bit everywhere, step one is going to be putting them all on one piece of software, whether it's Excel or Google Sheets. That's going to be your first step if you have not used a system before. If you have used a system before, that's great. Then you get to think about organization. And so just like a ship without a navigation will pretty much go nowhere, or maybe you'll go in circles, a CRM without organization will not go so far. And that's because organization is essential to automation. If you're not organized, you can't automate. And that's because in order to automate, you need to know what things those people need to receive from you. And if you don't know who is in there, you won't know what they need, and then you won't know what to send them. So what can you do starting today? And that's make a list of your contact types. What do I mean by that? When you think of, no matter where your contacts are, think about the pillars of who you're talking to, whether it's maybe buyers, sellers, and past clients, or maybe you have a specific niche that you're working. Maybe you work with investors, maybe you work with new construction, maybe you work with certain groups like people who are downsizing or upsizing, growing families, things like that. You can think about your last few transactions and think, okay, where did these people come from? Was it from my SOY? Was it from marketing I was doing on social media? So thinking about where people are coming from and who you're working with will let you see which categories that you have. And then once you have your categories, which for today, I'm just going to talk about, let's say, buyer, seller, and past client, maybe for our three main pillars, then you can go ahead and start thinking about what they need and why they need. So for example, someone who's selling is going to need different information than someone who's buying. Let's say I don't have a home yet and I want to buy something, and you're sending me how to make my home value higher. That's good to know, but I don't have a home yet that I'm going to be selling. So, everyone needs different information, and that's why you need to organize a little bit to know who you're talking to. Now, that being said, it is good to have some generic content that everyone can receive. For example, everyone should know that you're in real estate. Everyone should know that you're in business. And that's where you can start categorizing. Now, we'll go to the next slide and I'll get deeper into this. So organization leads to automation. And this is an example of how you could automate something. And again, this will depend on what system you have. But if you're trying to make your CRM work in your sleep and you're trying to capture leads and then have automated follow-up, one example might be having a landing page to get interest. So let's say you have, I don't know, a single property site. Let's say you have a new listing and you want to promote it. And you say, okay, whoever's interested, fill out the information below. They fill out the information and then they could receive an email and text campaign. So that could be an email saying, oh, thanks so much for your interest in this property. When would you like to view it? and then a text message, hey, I just got your information. What time would you like to view this property, et cetera? Or what properties are you looking for in this area? And then you can capture that lead. And then that is a way to contact them until they're ready for you to call them and set up an appointment. Or maybe the automation will set up an appointment for you. Nowadays, there's even more information like AI, especially with Lofty and other software, that can do that lead generation for you. And with this example, you pretty much don't do anything. You just set it up and then it runs itself. So you'll have to share it maybe, you'll have to do the initial setup, but then it's working for you so that you don't have to do every single response every time. There are plenty of ways you can use automation, and it really goes back to which system you're using and what the people in the system need to hear from you. So this, I could talk about this for hours for sure, but that's just one example. Another example might be an open house sign-in sheet. Let's say you have an open house, you use something to capture their information, it goes into your system, it's tagged as open house, and then they'll receive more information about, oh, do you have an agent or not? Let's say they say no, and then you can continue that conversation with helping them get what they want. So you find out, oh, how many beds and baths? Do you want more properties like this? Did you like the home? Things like that, so that it's all automated and you don't have to do every single message every time. Because when you think about your business, I'm sure all of you can say 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 things that people always ask you. For example, how do I get pre-approved? Yes, let me send that over to you. You don't have to write it every time. You can write it once really well, save it as a template, and then send it over. So that's another example of making your business a little bit faster, a little bit easier, is having these things that you encounter every day that I'm sure you've written many times, and making it so that it's so there's that. And then let's talk about consistent communication. Why does consistent value-driven touch points build trust, and how can we systemize? So I'm sure you've all heard that it takes an average of 8 touches to get an initial meeting or other conversion with a new prospect. But if you research, I think it's even more than that now. And it's because people are inundated with information all the time. Like, people are full of getting ads on Instagram, on Facebook, while they're scrolling. They're seeing so many people. I'm sure they get so many emails, so many messages. And if you don't keep going, you're going to get lost in the noise. And so when you're reaching out to these people, you're not just reaching out just to reach out. You're reaching out to build credibility so you can talk about things that you've successfully done in your business so that they know that you're legitimate or that you can really help them. You can do this by sharing, let's say, reviews or connecting with them in other ways. You can show that you're an expert by giving them information when they need it. So, like I was saying earlier with like my buyer seller example, you're showing you are knowledgeable by giving them information that is relevant to them. So if someone signs up on a seller page that they want to sell their home and you giving them tips that maybe they wouldn't know otherwise, for example, I've worked with some agents who are specifically in like the Airbnb and short-term rental niche in Florida. And whenever they're speaking to those people, they have experience to say, hey, these are the things you can watch for. Here are some tax resources. Here is the best time to sell because of this. And they're able to explain everything really well to that group because they've been working it. And so I'm sure you have things like that too, where from your experience, you can share that and show that you're knowledgeable. So you're showing that you're an expert, sharing your story. I think this is really important, and it goes over all platforms. So branding and sharing who you are, that goes back to your value proposition. And knowing your value proposition is going to be really helpful to any communication across the board for your database. So taking a minute or a day or 5 minutes to take a piece of paper and write down what's valuable about working with you and what you bring to the table is going to be really helpful for communicating that. Because I know for a fact that agents work so hard. You guys will do above and beyond more than any other industry that I've ever seen, honestly. And people need to know that. People need to know what it's like for you to help people all the time or for you to go above and beyond. You have to talk about it and you have to tell them what your story is, connect with them. Because all of us are just people and we want someone relatable. We want someone that understands us. And if you can come across as that, then you're going to have more conversions too. And then that blends into connecting with them. So at the end of the day, you just want to connect with them. And it's really hard in this digital age where we're not meeting with people as much. And it's more like anyone can fill out 10 forms on 10 different agent sites. And you're the one who's trying to stand out. So consistency is going to be really key. And then just being able to share your story a little bit more so that they get to know you in the same way that when you watch YouTube videos or you watch a series, you feel like you know the actor or you know the person on social media. That's how you want them to feel about you. You want to talk to them enough and share enough with them that they feel like, oh, I know who they are. I know what they're about. I know their style. And being true to yourself and just sharing who you really are, I think, for sure. So let's talk about conversion and follow-up. The follow-up framework that turns leads into appointments and clients into raving fans. So if you're using multiple touch points on different platforms, they're gonna feel like you're everywhere. If you're posting on social media and you're sending emails, you're sending texts, you're on top of it all the time, they're gonna continue seeing your face over and over and over again. And you're gonna keep promoting yourself. And once you get someone as a client and you continue doing all of these touch points, you're going to seem ahead of the game because you will be. And I've seen it where people go from kind of knowing what to do for each transaction and being in the business for a long time to having a system and getting reminders for each point. And when they set the reminders, it becomes an even better experience because they're able to say things ahead of time. Like being on top of communication, that's really important. And staying on top of communication throughout the transaction too is really important. And you can automate that. You can make that a little bit more systematized where you have templates ready. For example, hey, just want to let you know the EMD is submitted. Or hey, this is when your appraisal is going to be. This is when your inspection is going to be. And maybe you already do that, but once you have templates in your system, it's going to make it even faster and better and more. You're going to be able to do that more often and more on time when you really lean on your system to help. And then once your clients get that really good client experience because you've been on top of it this whole time, then when they see you everywhere on social media, they can say, "Oh my gosh, I love them so much. They did such a great job for me." And then that's more credibility to you, as well as Google reviews and automating that process to get, more reach and to just showcase the good work that you're doing. So it all kind of goes together. It all blends together, and it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to think about. But if you haven't started using your system, I just challenge you today to just log in. Log in and take a look at what you've got. For sure, you're going to be able to send emails and send text messages. But once you start getting familiar with the system, then you can start finding ways to use it a little bit more. And just being in front of people all the time, that's the key in this day and age. Some people are doing so much. And if you keep going, you will convert more because you will have talked to them more and they will have seen your face more. It's inevitable. That's what I have today. If we have questions, I'd love to go over questions. I know we talked about things really high level. We didn't go deep too far, but it's because each system is different. And so I can't really go further, I think, without knowing which system you're using, how it's working. But I can absolutely ask questions, though. Answer questions.
Cynthia, that was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go into questions, Debbie and I have a gift for you guys. So I want to share that with you because I find it often most people don't know where to start. Okay. So our gift that we're going to give you is a place to start if you're at zero. Even if you're not at zero and you have a half-baked CRM or you have people over here and people over here, you can just begin again. And this is a great way to do it. So I'm going to share my screen, show you what we're going to give you. Okay. This is something I put together inside our coaching platform, and it's a database workbook. Okay. So this is a worksheet. 80% of your database can be clients or prospects. The other 20% can be vendors. You think about all the professionals that we are surrounded by. There's a lot of options here. Okay. So these are some prompts. Just start making a list. You can scroll through your text messages. You can look through your contacts. You can look through old newsletters. You can print out as many copies of this page as you want to start building and creating a prompt. Okay. database outreach ideas. This is not an exhaustive list, but it is a list to get you started. A to W, not a whole lot in X, Y, and Z, guys, but A to W, okay? Some scripts and some templates to help you think about things. Or if you are using a CRM and you need some new campaigns or you don't know what to say, you can leverage these, or you can copy and paste these into ChatGPT or perplexity.ai and make your own. Okay, but again, I want to give you something to get started with and things to think about. Okay, need help? Here's Cynthia's info. This is the freebie QR code that you can grab. This is Cynthia's cell phone number. Feel free to blow it up. She loves it. And her dedicated email. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. I'm going to drop this PDF in the chat so you guys can download it. All right, so now this is in the chat. You guys can just download that PDF and it's yours. All right, now I'm going to shut up, pass the mic back to Cynthia to go into Q&A, and then we'll do breakout rooms. All right, I saw some hands go up. Gary, I know your hand was up. Who else's hand was up?
Just wanted to hear about some good examples of shareable content that you mentioned, Cynthia.
Sure. I think being a local expert and talking about your area is really helpful. I think that's a really broad question because it will depend. And so some of the things that we've shared that can go across the board for everyone would be testimonials and, you know, past transactions. So talking about how you solved problems or how you did a good job, as well as sharing reviews. That's number one. Number two is going to be local spotlights. So if you have local businesses that you can promote or that you can share with others to be a resource of connection, that's going to be really good, as well as community information. So showcasing yourself as a community expert or a location expert and talking about the differences or what is available, sometimes talking about new things that are happening in the area, like new construction or other things being built. It can be local events, but also you can talk about things that are unique about your area. For example, ways tourists can benefit from coming and visiting you, or what it's like to live there. You can also, if you're thinking about more on the social media side, you can think of things like what I wish I knew before I moved here, or other things like that that are a little bit catchy. And then you can also default to the process. So once you have someone's interests and you know what they're looking for example, if you know they're going to be selling their property, you can think about, you know, what would a seller need to know before listing, or if it's a good time and why it's a good time, and just speaking to, you know, what their needs are. So just going through that process with any group would be fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jackie, you're up.
Hey, Cynthia, I'm going to be giving you a call this afternoon. I need help.
Okay,
So
sure.
I just need help getting started. But if you are on like Facebook, but you're really not on other platforms, what would you suggest that, like, how would you suggest you start? Because I don't know much about Instagram. I'm kind of like, you know, an 80s girl. So I'm like Facebook, but I know there's all these other places I should be posting, but haven't quite figured it out. So what's your advice for someone like me?
Yeah, absolutely. I think setting goals is the first place to start, because once you commit something to yourself, then you're more likely to do it. So I think start small. Say, you know what, I'm going to post 2 times a week and consistently start doing that. And then once you're doing 2, then you can move up to 3, then you can move up to 4 until it's daily. That's fine, but you want to do something that's sustainable for you and your business. I think people really like to see what you're doing. They like to know, you know, who is Jackie? What is she up to? What does she like? And let's say you drink your morning coffee every day. You can post yourself with your coffee and just say, hey, look, here's my coffee. You know, good morning, everyone. And everyone's going to love it because they can relate to it, because everyone has their morning coffee or their morning tea or whatever, you know? And so that's one thing that's really easy. Try to not make it hard on yourself. Try to do something that you're already doing. So let's say you're showing property every week. You can just shoot a quick video and say, hey, showing property in this neighborhood this week. Let me know if you need anything. these homes are beautiful, something like that, because you're already actively doing it. Or just talking about your experience, or when clients ask you a question, then just post about it and say, hey, I had a good question this week, or if any of you are wondering about this, and you just talk about it. Because then it's going to be relatable. More people are going to have the same question, kind of like a teacher. When they say, hey, raise your hand, because everyone's going to have the same question. It's the same thing when you're informing your audience. And then super underrated, but on Facebook, there are Facebook groups. Absolutely start commenting in there, because when you're answering questions about your area and being knowledgeable and saying, oh yeah, I do have a recommendation for this, or just being helpful in general in answering questions, people are going to start noticing you. And you can also start posting in there too and saying questions like, hey, who's a small business owner? I'd love to support you. And then you can kind of like filter those people and then be able to recommend them. And then it just becomes a little ecosystem of referrals.
So you think it's okay to just kind of stick with what you know right away, and then like once I'm comfortable with the process, then like maybe add Instagram, do next door, like not try to do everything at once?
Absolutely. I would definitely focus on one. And then once you have one down, then go to the next one. Some things are able to be done in everywhere though. So for example, if you make a video, you can just put it on Instagram. It's the same type of platform, But yes, I would definitely start with one so that you can start getting things from one.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia.
Sure.
Trina had a question in the chat. She said she can't raise her hand. So let's go to Trina.
Sorry, I keep trying, and I checked all my stuff and I'm like, why isn't it recognizing it? I just have to say that I was really struggling with my CRM, and I had a consultation with Cynthia, and she built me out some smart plans for buyers, sellers, and my SOI. And then got it to where as soon as you tag them, it automatically goes in, and the quality of the messaging and how she set it up is just fantastic. And I just wanted to give kudos to her and a shout out. If anybody is thinking about it, Cynthia can help you, and she gets you thinking about things that you may not have thought about. She just gets your brain going. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Ellen, you're up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I have a question. It seems I'm bombarded by insurance companies, like 6 to 12 texts a day, and people are not answering their phone. How often can you do things without being spammy, like or email or text or calls?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it will depend on how you got their information. So if someone is a hand raiser and saying, hey, I really want to talk to you, I don't think you can talk to them enough. I would say daily is okay because they want to talk to you. Now, if you bought a list of expireds that you're cold calling, that's something else. You probably don't want to call them 5 times a day, every day, but I think it depends on how you got the contact. Also leading with value is really important. So I don't think it's enough to just say, hey, are you ready to buy a home yet? And just repeating that message in different words every day. I think to give them other things to learn about from you or your area or what you bring to the table as far as value, that's going to make it so that you can talk to them more often. In general, for a database, I would say once a week or every 2 weeks is a good cadence. But if it's a brand new lead, you're going to want to try to contact them a little more often than that, because so many other people are probably trying to talk to them at the same time. So for example, if they filled out 10 lead forms and you're just 1 out of the 10 people, you want to be able to stand out and stay in front of them until you have a conversation.
Thanks. Do you know what the current spam laws? One of the things I have is I have a lot of contacts, and I just can't send 1,000 out a day.
No. Yeah. With texting, you have to be very careful. I would honestly only use automated texting in a drip and for signups. So if someone signs up and then they can get a text, and then sporadically, periodically, but not kind of like you highlight everyone and send them a text. I wouldn't do that in general. I would keep it to email marketing and then phone calls.
Thank you.
Sure. I know, keep your phone numbers out of spam because getting them out is a hassle. So absolutely.
Sorry, hi. Um, so, but do you know how to get them out? Because one of my phone, I have two phones because
Mhm.
one of them has been, flagged as
Mhm.
scam, please. So I have to get another one.
Oh no. Well, maybe
I
we
know.
can talk later. It depends on how you did it, what carrier you have, if it's from the system or not. I mean, there are lots of factors. We can
Okay.
chat later if you want.
Okay, thank you. Also, one last question. So I was looking at the PDF. Um, which one would be best if we were to email?
Grace, it says on there like what it's designed for, whether it's great or email, text, or a conversation.
Oh,
But
okay.
again, you don't have to use those as they are, but it's meant to be a guide, right? Like we
It
want you to
looks
get
good. That's
started on
why.
something.
It
Yeah.
looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah. But feel free to customize and personalize it, right? Like you're
Okay.
not a robot talking. So
Yeah.
tweak it up so that it's coming from you, right? Like your
Yeah.
personality, who you are, how you speak, that's important. I think we always forget we're people, and AI
Yeah.
just makes that worse, right?
Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
we can stay focused on how we communicate and
Mhm.
just focus on communicating more. Over time, we're going to communicate better, and you're just going to see your results.
Okay. Cynthia, last question regarding emails. So whenever I send emails, I use Wise Agent, right? But it
Okay.
always goes to promotions.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what to do. All my emails goes to promotions. Is there some kind of technique I'm supposed to use?
Right. That is another really big question. That's going to be for your domains, though. It's your domain health, I would say. And so we can talk about what you can do for that. Really, it's sending a smaller amount and getting those people to open them and then slowly build it over time and making sure that you don't use words that will flag your emails. For example, like free sometimes, or having the same word over and over, or too many emojis, or other things like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Any other questions before we go into breakout rooms, guys? All right. Debbie, are we set up for breakout rooms? All right, Cynthia, what's our icebreaker question?
Okay. So one, are your contacts organized in one place? And if you have not committed to using a CRM, why?
All right. Those are good questions. All right, here we go. Everybody go to your room. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed meeting new people in your breakout rooms, and you were able to build some great relationships that will help you in business. Raj, I see your hand up.
Yes. We had a nice breakout room, by the way, just now. And since we're talking about how to be organized and how to use CRM, not to promote another group, but I discovered a meetup of a lady who's a realtor in Philly, and she's absolutely addicted to AI ever since it came out. So I joined her group. Only four of us showed up. It was every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And she was like showing presentations on the fly using Chat GPT with a script, converting it into a Instagram post in like literally 20 seconds. And I think that is something that's very useful. And I was like, what's the gimmick? What's the scam? Where's the fee gonna come in that we have to donate or pay? She was doing this all for free because she just likes it as a hobby. So I invited her to come on this call today. Her name is Deborah, but I guess she had another commitment. So if I can have your permission, I'll post her meetup, invitation or whatever session in the chat. Anyone who wants to attend, most welcome to check it out and see how it helps you streamline your work.
Cool deal. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any comments before we wrap this up? It's 9:01, or it is here anyways. All right, Cynthia, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Ray, final thoughts?
Go organize your people, guys. Seriously, it will make a difference in the book of business that you do at the end of the year. I promise.
All right, you guys, thanks so much. don't forget to download the chat and follow up with people that you met here today. Thanks
Thank you,
so much.
everybody.
We'll see you guys all next week.